A few years back, I decided to run an experiment in my garden that I probably should have done a decade earlier. I planted over 20 different vegetable varieties on the same day in the same soil, under the same conditions, and I tracked exactly how many days each one took to go from seed to something I could actually put on a plate. Some of the crops that people call fast were actually mediocre, and a few that nobody talks about blew past everything else. The science behind why certain vegetables outpace others comes down to genetics and how each plant prioritizes energy allocation. Some species evolve to produce edible tissue almost immediately, while others put weeks of energy into root systems before you see a single leaf worth eating. In this video, I am going to share my rankings from slowest to fastest based on real results from my own garden over close to 15 years of testing. Every single one of these earned its rank through repeated trials, not guesswork, and make. Sure, you stick around for the bonus tip at the end because I discovered a germination trick that consistently shaves days off these numbers, and it costs almost nothing to do. Ranking vegetables by speed is not just a fun exercise. It changes how you plan your entire growing season. When you know exactly which crops will deliver first, you can stagger your plantings, fill gaps between slower crops, and keep a continuous harvest rolling from spring through fall. I have tested and retested these rankings in my own raised beds and in ground plots across multiple seasons, and what I'm sharing today are the varieties and methods that have proven themselves over and over. I ranked 10 vegetables from the slowest of the fast growers down to the absolute quickest, so let us count them down. The first one I want to talk about is baby bok choy, and there is a fascinating reason why it kicks off our countdown. At roughly 30 to 35 days from seed to harvest, baby bok choy is the entry point for fast-growing vegetables. The variety Mei Ching choy is my go-to pick because it consistently matures at the shorter end of that range. Baby bok choy grows well in USDA zones 2 through 11 and prefers cooler temperatures between 50 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. The reason it grows as quickly as it does comes down to its structure. Instead of building a dense head like full-sized cabbage, baby bok choy produces a loose rosette of tender stems and leaves that require far less energy to develop. Plant seeds a 1/4 inch deep and about 4 inches apart. You will know it is ready when the base is plump and about the width of your fist, with smooth spoon-shaped leaves fanning outward. I grow these in early spring and again in fall because the heat of summer makes them bolt almost overnight. Next up is baby beet greens, and this one really surprised me when I first tried it. Most people grow beets for the roots, which take 50 to 60 days, but if you harvest just the greens at the baby stage, you can be eating them in 25 to 30 days. The variety bull's blood is stunning for this purpose because the deep burgundy leaves look incredible in a salad and the flavor is mild and earthy. Beet greens perform well in zones 2 through 10. The biology here is interesting. Beet plants push out leaf growth aggressively in the first few weeks to capture as much sunlight as possible before channeling energy down into root development. By harvesting early, you are intercepting that first burst of productive growth. Sow seeds about 1 inch apart and 1/2 inch deep. When the leaves reach 4 to 5 inches tall, cut them with scissors about 1 inch above the soil line and you will often get a second harvest. Number 9 on our list is turnip greens, and here is why they deserve a spot. Similar to beets, most people think of turnips as a root crop, but the greens are ready in about 25 to 28 days. Turnip greens thrive in zones 2 through 9 and actually prefer cool weather. The slightly peppery flavour comes from the same glucosinolate compounds found in other brassicas, which the plant produces as a chemical defence against insects. Direct sow seeds, 1/2 inch deep, about 2 inches apart. Harvest the outer leaves when they reach about 6 inches long, leaving the center growing point intact if you want the root to keep developing underneath. I started growing turnips for the greens alone and ended up falling in love with the roots too. If you're finding this helpful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I put out new videos every week breaking down the science behind growing better food at home. It is free and it means you will not miss the next one. All right. Let us keep going with the top 7. The 7th pick is leaf lettuce, and let me tell you why I think this one is underrated compared to its reputation. Loose leaf lettuce, varieties like black-seeded Simpson and red sails can reach baby harvest stage in 21 to 25 days. That is 3 weeks from seed to salad. Lettuce thrives in zones 2 through 10 and does best when temperatures stay between 45 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit. The reason lettuce grows so fast at the baby stage is that each leaf is incredibly thin, just a few cell layers thick, which means the plant invests very little structural material per leaf. Sow seeds just 1/8 of an inch deep, barely covered, because lettuce actually needs light to trigger germination. That is a detail a lot of seed packets do not emphasize enough. Harvest at 3 to 4 inches with scissors, leave the crown, and you will get 2 or even 3 additional cuttings before the plant is spent. I succession plant a new row every 10 days to keep fresh lettuce on the table all season. Number 6 is baby spinach, and there is a fascinating reason why it ranks this high. Spinach varieties like Corvair and Renegade reach baby harvest in 20 to 25 days, and the nutritional density at this stage is outstanding. Spinach grows in zones 3 through 9 and is one of the most cold-tolerant greens you can plant, handling light frosts without any protection at all. The science behind its speed is that spinach evolved in cooler climates where the growing window is short, so it developed the ability to produce harvestable leaf tissue very early in its life cycle as a way to reproduce before summer heat shuts it down. Plant seeds 1/2 inch deep and about 2 inches apart in soil that stays consistently moist. You will know it is ready when those smooth, dark green leaves reach about 3 inches long. The flavour at the baby stage is sweeter and more delicate than mature spinach. The 5th one I want to talk about is green onions, and there is a practical reason why they rank here. Scallions from the variety evergreen, hardy white, reach harvestable size in about 25 days, and they are one of the most versatile crops in the kitchen. They perform well across zones 3 through 9. What makes green onions uniquely fast among alliums is that you are harvesting the green shoot and slender shank, completely bypassing the energy-intensive process of bulb formation. The plant simply pushes growth upward, which is metabolically cheap, so seeds are 1/4 inch deep and 1/2 an inch apart. Once the tops reach 6 to 8 inches tall, with a base about the width of a pencil, they are ready to pull. I keep a continuous row of these going in a raised bed, replanting every 2 weeks so I never run out. Next up is arugula, and this one really earned its ranking in my trials. The variety Astro consistently hits harvestable size in 18 to 21 days in my garden, making it one of the fastest greens you can grow. Arugula thrives in zones 3 through 11 and is remarkably unfussy about soil quality. The peppery bite you taste comes from glucosinolate compounds, and here is something interesting. Those compounds are more concentrated in younger leaves, but the flavour is actually more balanced than in older leaves where it can turn almost unpleasantly sharp. Scatter seeds are 1/4 inch deep and thin to about 3 inches apart. Harvest when leaves are 2 to 3 inches long for the best flavour. Heat will make arugula bolt rapidly, so I treat it as a spring and fall crop and do not bother fighting with it in July. Number 3 on our list is radishes, and here is why they rank so high. Cherry bell and French breakfast radishes consistently deliver a finished, harvestable root in 18 to 23 days. That is a complete vegetable, root and all, in under 3.5 weeks. Radishes grow in zones 2 through 10 and tolerate a wide range of soil conditions. The reason they are so fast is that radishes channel nearly all of their photosynthetic energy into swelling that single taproot rather than building extensive foliage. Sow seeds 1/2 an inch deep and 1 inch apart in rows 6 inches apart. You will know they are ready when the root shoulders push up above the soil surface and reach about 1 inch in diameter. Do not leave them in the ground past their prime. I made that mistake early on and ended up with a row of pithy, hollow radishes that were only good for the compost bin. Coming in at number 2 is garden cress, and this ranking is well earned. Curly cress and Persian cress can be ready to eat in just 14 to 17 days. That is 2 weeks. Cress grows in zones 2 through 10, tolerates partial shade and drought, and is so low maintenance that you can grow it on a damp paper towel on your kitchen counter. The biology behind its extreme speed is that cress evolved as a rapid colonizer in disturbed soils producing edible leaf tissue, almost immediately to outcompete neighbouring seedlings for sunlight. Pressed seeds lightly into the soil surface and keep them moist. The tangy, peppery flavour is wonderful on sandwiches, in salads, and as a garnish. I rank cress at number 2 because while it is astonishingly fast, the number 1 pick edges it out for ease and reliability. And the number 1 fastest vegetable in my rankings is microgreen mixes, and let me explain why. When you grow a dense tray of microgreens using varieties like sunflower, pea shoots, or a brassica blend, you can be harvesting in as little as 7 to 12 days from seed. That is not a typo. 7 days. Microgreens are technically any vegetable harvested at the cotyledon or first true leaf stage, and the science behind their speed is simple. You're eating the very first growth the seed produces, fueled almost entirely by the energy stored in the seed itself, rather than by photosynthesis. Scatter seeds densely on a shallow tray with about an inch of moist potting mix. Press them in and cover the tray for the first 3 to 4 days to encourage stem elongation. Then uncover and give them light. When the first set of leaves opens and the stems reach 2 to 3 inches tall, cut and eat. Studies have shown that some varieties contain 4 to 40 times the concentration of vitamins and minerals compared to their mature counterparts. Now, this is something I stumbled onto about 6 years into my gardening journey, and it completely changed how I approach every single fast crop on this list. The trick is pre-germinating your seeds on damp paper towels before planting them in soil. Take your seeds, spread them on a moist paper towel, fold it over, slide it into a sealed plastic bag, and leave it in a warm spot around 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Check daily. The moment you see that tiny white root tip emerge, which biologists call the radicle, transfer the seeds into your prepared soil. What you're doing is eliminating the most unpredictable variable in germination, which is the time it takes for water to penetrate the seed coat and activate the embryo. With this method, I have cut 3 to 5 days off germination times across the board. And when you are growing a crop that only takes 14 days in the first place, saving 5 days is enormous. That is everything I have for you today. Gardening is one of those things where the more you learn, the more you realize there is to discover. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss the next one. Happy gardening, and I will see you in the next video.